Good evening, 7:30-ish. Wednesday, we are going to legislative session. We'll do the pledge and we'll continue.
Hey, Trustee White, Trustee Yost, Deputy Mayor Lopez, and Mayor Levin.
Present.
Mayor and trustee announcements.
Okay, right to left. Do you have any announcements?
We had a successful Jane's Walk weekend. Thanks to Brian Gronoff organizing it. I had a really good time with the downtown one. I don't know if I've ever actually done a tour of the downtown.
It was great.
And then there were Dale, and then there was Sparta, and there was Camp Woods. So good weekend for history in Ossining.
Really, it was wonderful. It's part of the Ossining 250 celebration. So Dame and Jane's Walk, I guess, we're the first municipality in Westchester to have them, but they're all over the world. They're done solely by volunteers. And it was great. Beautiful event. I learned a lot myself. So it was like wonderful. What do you have?
Nothing.
Okay. Anything? All right. Just stay tuned. Jamie Hoffman rolls out weekly the web blast from the village. It includes village, town, county, all sorts of events. Look at those. There's lots and lots of stuff going on about all sorts of events because it's sort of the kickoff of the spring going into summer. And we're sort of busy till about November in this part of the country with outdoor, indoor, and all sorts of great events. So looking forward to that. And we can get started. We're turning it over to manager.
Okay, Village Manager Karen DeTore.
Good evening, everyone. So the big news is that tomorrow we will be doing our test run for our precast delivery. And for those of you who may not have heard, we are building a parking structure, also known as the Aqueduct Hub, in the Brandreth parking lot behind, on the north side of Main Street, behind Open Door and Main Street Deli and 147 Main. So now we're ready to bring in the precast chunks of concrete that will build the center. They come on very, very large trucks, and we anticipate they'll be coming in for about 10 weeks, Mondays through Fridays, starting about 6:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., coming down Church Street, making a left onto down Main Street, making a left onto Spring Street, and then backing into Brandreth Street. Brandreth Street will be closed between Leonard Street and the Tabernacle Church for the duration, Mondays through Fridays only. It'll be open on the weekends for the duration of the precast delivery, which should take about 10 to 12 weeks, hopefully less. And we'll try to make this as painless as possible. We've put out a lot of flyers. We've talked to the businesses. We've talked to our emergency responders. Jamie's done a great job on social media. The police have done a great job and will be doing a great job because they will be directing traffic through all this. But we anticipate that they'll be inconvenienced for sure, but we're working to mitigate that as much as possible and make sure if anybody has an issue, you can call me 914-941-3554 extension 103, and we will deal with whatever issue you may have. Make this as painless as possible. But again, the test is tomorrow with a slightly smaller truck, sometime between 9 and 11. So hopefully we'll be able to work out any kinks then, and we'll be ready to start the delivery on Monday. So that's my big announcement for today, but I'd like to turn it over to Harry Campbell, who is the chair of the Youth Advisory Board, which oversees and sort of stewards the Youth Bureau and the Youth Council. And he's here to present information from their annual report and a special presentation overview of what our Youth Bureau has been up to. So thank you, Mr. Campbell.
Thank you. All right, so I'm surprised that it's already been a year since last time, but here we are. So the first program that we have is the Oh Yes program, And that's one that is at AMD after school. And as you can see, we served 30 participants with that program. It's an enrichment program where the kids get to learn things and get to do things like cooking and uh, things like that, art and so on. So that's our first program. Next slide. And we have the water safety program, which is one of my favorites. And it helps a lot of kids learn how to swim and obviously be safe around the water. It's something that I really enjoy because I know, for instance, my grandkids get to do that, and they are very excited about it, and definitely feel safer with them around the water now. Then we have, and please forgive the pictures of me in there. I didn't tell them to do that, but I noticed there were a few pictures of me in some of these slides, and I don't want you to think that I put it together so that I could show off or anything. So the Grandpas United is a program that we sort of picked up from the White Plains um, Youth Bureau, and they do a lot of things in the schools. We don't do as many things in the schools yet. We've had some issues with trying to get more going in the schools, as you could probably understand. We do a lot of things related to mentoring. If there are programs going on in town, sometimes we help out with things like supervising some of if there are a lot of kids around, kind of helping out with those kinds of things. We have been doing some work meeting with my brother's keeper group in the high school and trying to get more involved in that, doing mentoring. We've been involved with the work program that we now have. I think there's another slide on that later, but there's a year-round youth work program, and we've been doing workshops with the kids that are employed, helping them learn more about what it is to work, some of the things that maybe weren't covered in the preparation, and just kind of checking in with them, seeing how things are going with the jobs that they're doing, and talking about things like how you dress and how you deal with situations that might come up during work and so on. So that's one of the programs that we're doing that I'm involved in. And another thing that we haven't really been doing yet in Ossining that hopefully we will is related to a mentoring program for fathers, and that is a program that they started in White Plains, but there's like a 15 session program where it goes over material, helping fathers learn some of the things that they should know about that. And we just had a graduation of the last group that I was involved with in White Plains last Saturday. Go to the next slide. And we have continued the second year of the Martin Luther King Day basketball tournament. It's a small tournament, but it is a tournament. And we've participated with White Plains, Youth Bureau, Greenberg, and Port Chester. Not a large program, but it's something that we're doing, and the kids that were involved enjoyed it, and that is hopefully we'll get to continue doing that. Next slide. The VITA program is where some of the youth were able to learn how to prepare tax returns. They didn't do mine, but they are doing tax returns for people who are of moderate or lower income. And I think it's a good skill for them to learn and help the community at the same time. Next slide. Youth Leadership Summit. So this is annual summit. In this program, we actually had our mayor participated and going up to Albany. We had a pretty big group that went to Albany, and they were very excited. And you see one of our our students there with the tie on, and he's a very good speaker. You probably seen him around, and if he gets an opportunity to speak, he does. So they got a chance to meet with a lot of the people out there in Albany, and I think one of the things that I've seen is that just in a lot of the meetings that I've been at, Ossining is being talked about in a lot of places besides Ossining now in a positive way. Some of the meetings that I've been at related to the state or the county and so on, they've seen a lot of the kids and heard about what they're doing. So that's pretty exciting. Green Project. So this is where the kids are learning about the environment and doing work with helping the environment. And that a lot of that was done with T-Town. Some of it was dealing with cleanup, looking at invasive plants and learning about that and helping to remove some of those plants and learn about some of the issues related to that. That's something that they were doing before, and we're continuing that. And this is, no, thanks. I was
back.
ready. Thanks. The Women's History Month brunch, that was something that I got invited to. I purposely am not in that picture because I figured since it's women's history, and I'm not part of that directly, so I was not in that picture. But it was at the Ossining Library, and we had Joyce Cole was there, and she did some Ossining history games with the participants, and there were many other people that participated in that program. They had a nice meal there, and just a lot of community getting together and celebrating some of the women in Ossining and beyond. So that was a great event, and the youth did a lot of work in putting that together, and the decorations and all were very nice. Next slide. Sports. So this year we did soccer, or if you want to call it football. We did the soccer program. We didn't do the flag football this year, and that was sort of a loss. That was something that we enjoyed doing, but we didn't get to do it this year. Some of that had to do with staff changes and availability. But the soccer program did go on, and there were 80 participants, so that was also successful. Next slide. The job readiness training. So that I mentioned this a little bit before. It's a year-round employment opportunity in this year. Usually, in the past, it's been the summer, and we were able to have from additional grant funding a program that ran through the rest of the year, and this was targeted more to lower income households. So those youth that were able to qualify went through this program. They went through training, doing things like interview preparation, resume, and so on. And as part of the program, as I mentioned before, we would meet with them on alternate weeks and do workshops with them. And I think this one actually was where they were able to attend a program during Black History Month that talked about some of the lesser known speeches of Martin Luther King Jr. and also some of the things that he was working towards related to employment and things like that. So as I mentioned before, we had other programs that talked more specifically about resumes and things like that. Next slide. Ossining Youth Council. So these are the young people that are really working to represent the Youth Bureau. And they come to the Youth Advisory Board and the management of the Youth Bureau with the ideas that they want to work on and give us feedback in terms of the programs. So we're not just setting up programs and just saying this is what you're going to do. They have a lot of input in that, and they've been attending. Several of them have been attending a lot of the programs and some of the board meetings. In some cases, more than some of the adults. But anyway, they are a strong group. I have across a lot of them, just in the community in different roles, in work situations, at different meetings, volunteering, and they're pretty hard workers and excited about Ossining and doing things to um, promote the community and being productive parts of the community. Are there any more slides? Okay. Upcoming summer programs. So, as I mentioned, we didn't get to do the flag football. And in terms of these are some of the programs that we are doing. Another program that we didn't get to do or we're not going to be able to do is the summer leadership program that we had done in the past. Again, that's related somewhat to staff, and also a mentoring program that we had done in the past. So those are some changes that we're not thrilled with, but it's what we had to do. And as far as the mentoring, there was this mentoring program that we were doing before, but the Grandpas United is doing some mentoring. Again, we're sort of limited in what we've been able to do so far, integrating into the schools with the challenges that we have there. But these are some of the programs that we have going on: the soccer, the water safety, and so on. So those are the programs. And then in terms of needs, well, these are the numbers of people that we served, 689 and 500 that were unduplicated. And in terms of needs, as usual, funding for staff, um, and we would like, at least if we were able to get back to the levels that we were at before. And there's still some, I guess, trying to understand how the funding is being done now in terms of the village versus grants and that kind of thing. So hopefully we'll be able to get some improvements with that. So that is my presentation. If you have any questions that I might be able to answer, you can let me know.
Hey. Sounds great. That slide with the 500 is 100 more than we saw this time last year. I remember it was 400 unduplicated last year. I think. So,
That number I don't have with.
yeah, I used to quote 400, so I think that's actually an increase. That's fantastic. Okay, I'm going to go right to left again, see if anybody has questions or comments or thoughts.
Thank you, Harry.
You're welcome.
Good work. I'm a question. How do you recruit kids to the program? How do you bring them?
Well, the youth council does a lot of that. They actually have a magazine that they do. They recruit at the schools, so they talk to students at the schools. I'm hoping that they'll do more at the middle school, because then when the middle school students come to the high school, they'll already be prepped for it. But I think most of it has been at the middle school, and they're starting to do more, I think, with developing the sort of brand. They've been getting some help. We had one of the grandpas from Grandpas United that has been helping them with branding for the Youth Bureau and looking at what's possible in terms of social media and things like that. I know, we have to be a little careful with what we do related to that and rules and things like that. So you're welcome.
Hi, Harry.
Hi.
Thank you for presenting. This is great. So, the request for funding, I think, is an important one and one to start laying the groundwork for now as we look at the end of the year toward our budget process. So, thank you for bringing that to our attention. Is there anything else in terms of promotion, in terms of problems that we could be helpful with as a board that you've identified in your work?
Well, I mean, in terms of promotion, I guess it would be what's possible. We start with that because we could ask for a lot of things, but if it's not possible based on rules and things like that, then wouldn't be helpful to ask. But if there's some guidance on that, in terms of what's possible, then I would be able to maybe make a better request.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't
I would
know.
say, yeah, I would say that there are existing channels that we have both through the village and then individually. But we also are connected to networks. And so, for example, if you say, hey, it happened to be that we have one of the grandpas that has a marketing background, he could help with the branding. But if you didn't, then that would be a great example. Would love for you to come to us to say, hey, can you put the word out to the community? The youth bureau is working on branding. Is there anyone that would be able to raise their hand and help them with that? Something like that. We'd be more than happy. We're connected to so many parts of the village to make those connections happen.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
So once again, great job, right? Like I'm also very, very pleased to see the 500 number, right? That continues to go up, and it's I second the trustees' comment on don't be afraid to ask. Like we may not always be able to say yes, but there's always opportunities to connect into networks. And I want to just publicly make sure we're thanking you and Chima and the rest of the staff who like do a wonderful job kind of building and fostering a sense of community and group amongst both yourselves and all the youth that are served by the group. So thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. And I would just add, you mentioned about the staff. I should have said, we have some really great people there, and they work hard. And I see people that have a job and show up and they do the job, but they're really devoted, and you could tell that they care about what they're doing. So I see it all the time.
Thank you. I mean, we see each other because we have about 8 or 9 meetings a year. And so I go to them. Karen's always at the meetings. You're at the meetings. Sometimes Bob Fritchie, depends. We've had different people involved at different times. There's lots of requests. It's lots of the last key topics, which when you do the next presentation, I would recommend like what's different this year than last. So the growth, definitely like, pointing that out. We used to say we're the first one in over 30 years in Westchester to have created this program, which is amazing. So for me, I think like next time, just like what's the change from last year to this? You mentioned what you're not doing, which is good and bad. I mean, some things have to, you have to size everything. But I think the thing for me that I thought last meeting was really is different this year that I would share with you is when I saw them speaking in front of Andrew Stewart Cousins in that room, when they spoke in front of the chief of staff for Assemblywoman Mayor, right? She's in charge of education, Shelley Mayer. Senator or Assembly? I don't remember what she is. First of all, there wasn't enough room in the room. They had to, they were standing outside. There were so many from Ossining, which was unusual, actually. They were a little surprised. So I thought the difference between how they presented this year and how they've presented when I've seen them is just night and day. I mean, they were so professional. One of them even came up and said, "Look at the suit I'm wearing. Like I'm wearing a suit this year," because I guess he wasn't dressed exactly, and somebody commented, not me, but he was so excited. He goes, "I got my new suit on. I mean, he was so proud, and he presented so well. And they've just gone so like the public speaking aspect. It's a big deal. Most adults don't do well in public speaking, and they're like teenagers. Really fantastic. The other conversation that was sort of interesting, last time we met is also like they're doing so much more than a year ago, certainly 2 and 3 years ago, but across the county. So they've had the counterparts to Chima or really people above from the state come in, from the county. White Plains has the largest, I guess. We're like doing a lot more work with other youth bureaus. There aren't that many of them actually, but those that are there, every municipality doesn't have one. That's for sure. There's 45 municipalities. So in the next presentation would be really great, like that we see the buildup, like because some of it is not direct. It's not numbers. It's more like sharing of how far they've come. And I thought the conversation last time about that not everybody goes to college. So it's really great to have programs about how to interview, how to put a resume together. Was great. And I think that should absolutely keep going, especially for kids whose own family members may have small businesses or maybe employees, so they never went to college. And so this would be great. But the school also has some responsibility there. Conversation about, for those that don't want to go to college, how can we do more in that world? How can we speak to our representatives more? How can we push that forward with BOCES or whatever? I thought that was the first time I really heard such a interesting conversation about that. And I think they're ahead of the curve, frankly. I think more adults should be talking about that. So I just want to point out that I saw some other really great things that really just made me so proud. I frankly like I told them they're ready to sit in these chairs. I mean, it's just such a huge movement on their part. It's you guys have been doing such a great job because you're the chair. So and Chima's just been doing an amazing job. So we thank all of you for all the work. And when we enhanced the community center, they were involved in the structuring of that. So I hope that it feels like they're a bigger part of it as well. So thank you.
You're welcome. And one other quick things I forgot to mention.
Sure.
As far as the continuation of the work that's being done at the community center and the construction and all, you've been doing a good job of keeping us up to date with that, and we just want to make sure that that continues because that's important. Especially we've had sessions where there was input and so on, and the youth were very. It was very important to them that they were heard and
Right.
and that they continue to be. So I appreciate that. And then the other thing that I just wanted to mention is I always kind of have in the back of my mind that after people graduate, that group,
Yeah.
are we meeting them? Are we serving them? And where are they? If we need to serve them. So that might be something that we would look to get help on that.
Yeah. Well, MBK has started focusing on that as well, like an alumni type of scenario.
Right.
So they're not. So I think that's a great next topic, like the next generation
Right.
topic. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Must be great
You
for
have it.
you.
Welcome.
Like having grown up here, this must be just exciting for you to be part of this growth in the youth. So congratulations.
Thank
on
you.
Everything that you do for the community. Seriously, it's been wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Corporation Counsel, Stuart Kahan.
Thank you, Sue. Good evening, folks. With the first third of the year done, I thought I'd give you a few statistics in terms of where things are relating to parking and FOIL requests. Through April 30th, police and parking enforcement officers have written 8,723 parking tickets. In 2025, that number was 6,415, so it's an increase of 36% over the year. The face value of the tickets issued in April was 118,986, and to date, 445,217. That's just the face value based upon the fines. It's not what's actually collected, obviously. Of the tickets that have been written for the first third of the year, parking enforcement officers have written 5,559 of them, or 64%. For April, they actually wrote 67.5% of all those tickets that were issued. The majority of parking tickets remain for the overnight parking violations, and I note that we are going to have a discussion of that later this month. Through April, 5,082 tickets were issued for no parking 3 a.m. for improper area, no parking 3 to 6, no tag, and no parking 3 to 6 for commercial vehicles. That by itself represents 58% of all tickets that are issued by the officers. And in April, that number actually was 60.7% of all parking tickets. One other note regarding parking. The clerk today forwarded an email to me from a resident who was upset because she had received a parking ticket for parking at a metered location. She had put in her time and she got a ticket. And she said it was the second time it happened. So we got the ticket, we looked at it, and the individual who has not responded yet to my email made a common mistake. She transposed the numbers on her license. So her license plate, if it was 12345, she put in 12354. So if you do that, you will get credit for parking. But when the parking enforcement officer comes to your car, that car has not paid, and the ticket is issued. It happens more often than I care to acknowledge. When people come in and they come either to me as the prosecutor, or they drop off their tickets and they say, see proof, and I'll say, but look at the license plate. This also happens in the clerk's office with Muni parking passes. The number is simply transposed. The tickets, I will still recommend that they be dismissed. However, it's important for the individual to be careful when they are inputting those numbers, because it's not a mistake by the parking enforcement officer. Unfortunately, it's the individual who makes the error, and that does happen. Turning to FOIL requests. As of May 1st, we've received 314 FOIL requests. This is a decrease of 50 FOIL requests from 2025, and it's 12 fewer requests from 2024. Whether the trend continues is unknown. However, the volume of what is requested in the FOIL requests continues to increase. From the police end, we get many requests for body camera, dashboard camera, all types of videos. Those videos are reviewed by me before they go out. And also, for those videos to be released, the requesting individual has to open an account with my.evidence.com. Not difficult. Sometimes they balk at doing that, but they do that. Once it's done, I can easily share the videos. But that's part of it. The folks in OPD, or under Lieutenant McGovern, Teresa, Officer Abulatin, Officer Podignano, everyone in support services does a phenomenal job of getting those records out and getting them out timely. We also continue to get a massive number of FOIL requests for the building department. And I do want to really mention Jen Daly, who has done a phenomenal job in decreasing the response time to what was a couple of weeks to literally a couple of days, and in some cases a couple of hours, because people and the requests are large. Some of these properties, someone asked for basically every complaint that has ever been filed, every CO, every certificate, every permit application, puts them together, they're out, they go to the clerk's office, and that it's done. But all of it basically requires the help and what we get from the clerk's office. Both Sue and Janeth do a phenomenal job. We get them out. They get basically funneled to the different departments. So even though it is a decrease in actual numbers of FOIL requests, the amount of time that is spent on the requests remains heavy. We get FOIL requests for asking for every building permit that was filed for the past 6 weeks, every solar panel permit that was filed, and all those things take time. But again, with the good work of Jen over in the building department, the folks over in OPD, and the clerk's office, we are able to get through that. I can say, knock on wood, we rarely get appeals from FOIL denials or FOIL responses, because basically the folks know exactly what they have to do and what they have to get out. The number of times that additional time is needed beyond the 20 days is probably less than 10% of all the FOILs that come in, and it's probably even less than 5%. So the response back is great, and I don't want to leave out the other departments, DPW, finance, planning, personnel, sometimes Section 8. They do get it, and we also get a lot of FOIL requests for the assessor's office because it's all connected to building. Everybody does it in a very, very prompt manner, which makes it easy from our perspective, because the law is now that if you get a FOIL request and you do not timely respond and a legal action is brought, the court must award counsel fees. to the other side. So it's important to get those responses out timely. And again, my thanks to all those departments that do that. I still am not used to watching all the body cam with jumping up and down, so I have to sort of turn it off, then I go back, then I turn it off. But everybody, my thanks to all of those folks who get that done. So that's the report for this quarter. Thanks.
I just want to emphasize to people though that there is a 20-day period that we have to complete a foil, just in case. Okay, it's not, we tried to get them out as fast as possible, and we are very conscious of different people's needs for them and why they need them, but just understand that there is a 20 business day time period that we have to fulfill a foil. Police Chief Aaron Zimmerman.
Good evening. Sorry, Stuart, to subject you to the Blair Witch Project effect of the body cameras. Make you seasick sometimes watching it. They are interesting. Not a whole lot going on in the police end of things, which is probably a good thing. But just to kind of echo what village manager was talking about as far as the, major construction project going on starting next week. There's a trial run tomorrow. I think the village manager is doing a very tactful job of downplaying it. It's going to be a tremendous mess, everybody, a tremendous mess. So be prepared. I'm just kidding, but I want to prepare you for the worst and hope for the best.
It's going to be a mess.
Oh yeah, no, it's going to be a mess. So just be patient. There's going to be a lot of moving parts, and these parts are very heavy parts. So it takes a lot of planning and careful consideration. So please be patient. Allow for extra time. Whether you're conducting business downtown or just out shopping or whatever, but please allow for a little bit of extra time and to be stopped in traffic. And you might have to park in other places when parking will be restricted on parts of Church Street and Main Street and Spring Street and Brander Street. So just take these things into consideration, because at the end of the day, when this project's all done, I guarantee everyone will be a lot happier and there will be plenty of parking. So it will be worth it in the end. So all good things to come, and this too shall pass. Also, for the residents on Spring Street, we understand that you guys are going through a major project down there with a lot of revitalization of the sidewalks down there. Again, parking is always a commodity in this village. So please, again, be patient with the contractors down there. We know it's inconvenient, but again, at the end of the day, it will be worth it in the end. And that's really all I got. Be kind to thy neighbor.
Right. The other thing to add is there are lots of projects going on. We have projects Upper Croton by the Riscos across from where Carpet One was. That building's still, it's moving quickly, as everybody sees, but got to do what and we've talked about. You've got to do what you've got to do. The Spring Street one, Olive Opera House, construction over there. If you've got to go to work, you got to go to church, you have to visit people, you got to, please just sort of familiarize yourself with alternate routes. I don't think the GPS is going to pick up all these things. It picks up some things, not everything. So, as the chief said, as everybody has said, it's all going to be for improvement, and we're going to move through this. So, doing the best we can with as few pain points as possible. I think I hit all of the different projects that are going on. And then there's the usual, school buses and emergency vehicles and all the other stuff that happens every day. Market Square, we're still going to have the farmers market. We didn't really close up any major streets permanently, and we're trying to keep everything still running without putting people out of work. So let's hope for the best. We'll see what it looks like. Thank you.
Thank you. And just another note is that we did send an email out to all train station permit holders and muni permit holders that this is coming and that they should use their time accordingly, as you just said, Mayor.
Yeah.
Organizational announcements. Announcements must be event related only and can be no longer than 2 minutes in length. Is there anyone here that would like to talk about an event? No?
You're not an organization, but I think so you don't sit here all night. Did you want to speak about a topic?
Yeah. Did you want to speak on something?
Or we could do it on, we can do a visitor recognition. Did you want to speak or not?
Cable television. Cable television.
Recorded permanently. So on YouTube and many other places that people share it, that we don't, but it does get recorded. We don't edit anything out.
You're here just to visit us, that's fine.
That's okay too. Okay, so you may want to meet separately with the village manager and make an appointment because this absolutely gets recorded and blasted out. Okay, no problem. All good.
Okay.
Thank you. You're welcome to stay as long as you want.
It's not that bad. You could do it. I have faith.
I want to be seen on.
It's okay.
I want to be seen on. Okay,
Okay.
We're gonna move
Is
on.
there anyone on, our computer world that would like to raise a little virtual hand? No one? Seeing no one? Public comments on agenda items. Visitors are accorded a 4-minute opportunity to address the board on any of the resolutions on the agenda. Okay, moving on to visitor recognition. Visitors are accorded a 3-minute opportunity to address the board on issues not relating to the agenda, but of relevance to the common good of the village. Anybody online? Okay. Gonna get up. for
You want to
visitor
come up?
Yeah.
Okay.
rec- Yes.
Okay.
Just give your name and address, please, ma'am.
Give my name.
Okay.
Evening, everyone.
You gotta talk into that mic, though. Okay, yeah, sorry about that.
Not a podium person. Style talk.
There's also, is it 3 minutes?
Minutes.
Okay,
Minutes.
they'll let you know. Don't worry. Jamie
No
will let you know.
worries. Who would like to be the first to have these accessible signs? The mayor, maybe at the mayor's office or the court. I have designed accessible parking signs that meet the DOJ, Department of Justice, Federal Housing Act, American Dis- Act requirements, and they could be used throughout the United States. I will hand out one color copy.
You can hand them to me. You just give them to Jesse and he'll give them to.
Pass it around.
Yeah.
I have black and white. You can pass it around this way.
Yeah, I'll take everything. Yeah, I take everything.
I wasn't ready for this. These are proofs. That one came in today. It's finished. Display one this way. This particular one came out, they all come out of necessity. What I've done is to make a visual representation for people to look and visually understand. Don't park here or your car will disappear. And so I'm working with a sign designer, and step by step, as I researched every law, like 15, 20 laws, all the specs of sign height, color, text. Found out the DOJ only has one requirement, and that's the static disability logo, created in 2010 by the ADA. 2014, Governor Cuomo decided to enact the 2014 motion, accessible. I do not agree that everybody has to put this throughout the United States. I'll explain why. I'm a former teacher, and I also am a professional with disabilities. Children are born with disabilities, quadriplegics or more. They cannot always roll around in this image. So I thought of combining both, and that'll satisfy both the federal mandate as well as the New York State mandate. And it comes together as you would in an inclusion class in a classroom. So you include the general ed and the special ed. And here is a visual presentation, takes into account children and adults that sometimes are static, and children and adults that may be able to walk or roll around on their own. No parking anytime is part of the Ossining law and part of the state law. Access tiled, and I thought, well, people need to see why you don't park on those lines. A lot of people don't understand. And coming from a multicultural background and having worked overseas in my first career as an auditor, I thought of just taking the ADA image and putting it right there for the access aisles. I have been blocked many times. I've missed meetings and doctor's appointments, but somebody parked close to my door and I couldn't get in. And I miss out on life. So, towing truck is actually an international symbol. The handicap 2010 is international. It's everywhere around the world, airports, hotels, stores, everywhere. You can't change the world with one image. And so I have one for accessible parking
Okay, I have your little package.
and one for,
We'll
I'll take
share
them
it.
with those back.
We'll share it with the board. Okay, and the village management, but
So
thank
that's-
you so much.
I've been working on it for many hours.
Very nice.
A lot
We
of-
thank you for doing that.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Which ones did I give you?
Black and white ones.
You, Miss Donnelly?
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to
We've
meet
talked
you.
on the phone.
Yep.
You, Miss?
This is Karen
Oh,
Story.
thank you. Nice to meet you. It's a pleasure.
So we have these copies. Do you want us to keep these or do you want us to make copies? Better for you to need to. Okay, why don't you do that? Yep, and I'm going to continue with the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming in.
Okay, thank you very much. Village Board Resolutions, approval of minutes, April 22nd, 2026. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the minutes of the April 22nd, 2026 regular meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I need to abstain. I think I was out.
Oh, okay, one abstain.
Oh, I wasn't here last.
Nope.
You were
I was out
week.
last week. Oh, yeah.
Oh, was it?
You have to wait for Bob.
We might have to wait. Don't
Okay,
have three of
okay,
us
we'll
being
put
able
that
to
on
vote.
hold.
Okay. She wasn't.
Okay,
Which one is this for?
This is the 22nd.
Was the only-
it's the last,
I was here the 22nd, the
the
29th.
last week was a work session. Yeah.
Right, no,
Okay.
because she was here,
Okay,
sorry.
okay, so we're
We have
cool?
3.
We got three.
Excellent. Okay. Approval of voucher detail, May 6, 2025. Voucher detail report. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the voucher detail report dated May 26, May 6, 2025 in the amount of $2,218,289.08. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Yep.
Second.
Sorry.
I did say 2 million. 2 million.
No, I got it.
Okay, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Approval of the IBWTP voucher detail report, which is the water filtration plant. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the IBWTP voucher detail report dated May 6, 2026 in the amount of $1,678,565.30. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ossining Youth Bureau, Invest in Kids Program, Water Safety, and Ossining Youth Engaging in Success. Resolved that following review of Corporation Council, the village manager is authorized to sign the intermunicipal agreement with the County of Westchester as part of the county's Invest in Kids program, and be it further resolved that the term of the agreement shall be from January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2028. And be it further resolved that pursuant with the agreement, the county shall reimburse the village $50,000 per per year per program, and the village shall contribute $5,556 per year per program. Do I have a motion?
So
Um,
moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Ossining Youth Bureau, Ossining Youth Bureau Sports Program. Resolved that following review of Corporation Council, the village manager is authorized to sign an agreement with the County of Westchester to provide youth sports and education programs entitled the Ossining Youth Bureau Sports Program. And be it further resolved that the term of the agreement will be October 1st, 2025 through September 30th, 2026. And be it further resolved that the county shall reimburse the village in the amount not to exceed $29,000. Do I have a motion?
So move?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Board of Trustees, establishment of a tree bank fund. Whereas Village Code, Section 248-3 defines the tree bank fund as a fund to be established and administered in accordance with the Board of Trustees resolution providing for the payment of fees as mitigation for the removal of trees and tree replacement requires cannot be met. And whereas the Board of Trustees believes that the establishment of the tree bank fund furthers the legislation intent of Chapter 248 trees, and now be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees establishes a tree bank fund, and be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees shall set the fee for the mitigation of removals for trees, and be it further resolved that the fee shall be published in the village's annual fee schedule, subject to modification by the Board of Trustees. Do I have a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Board of Trustees, revision to the 2026 fee schedule. Whereas the Board of Trustees established a tree bank fund by resolution on May 6, 2026. Now therefore be it resolved that the approving authority determines that the payment into the tree fund is warranted. The fee to satisfy the unmet portion of tree replacement requirements shall be Code Section 270-16B, parenthesis 1, payment to the tree bank fund, $165 per
Caliper
inch, and be it further resolved that the tree bank fund shall be effective starting May 7th, 2026. Do I have a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Corporation Council, public hearing, proposed local law 2026, amending Chapter 214 taxation. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby calls for a public hearing to take place at 7:30 p.m. on May 20th, 2026 at the Birdsall Fagan Police Court Facility, 8688 Spring Street, Ossining, New York, and via Zoom to consider proposed local law 2026 amending Chapter 214 taxation, and be it further resolved that the proposed local law amends Section 241-35, portion of taxes deducted or remitted. And be it further resolved that the members of the public are invited to attend the public hearing in person at the above referenced location. And be it further resolved that members of the public who want to attend or participate in the public hearing remotely, access will be available via Zoom platform. And be it further resolved that comments could be regarding the proposed law will be accepted by the Board of Trustees at bot@villageofossiningny.gov. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Sue?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there any continuing business of the board? Is there any new business of the board? Or do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
No. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ladies and gentlemen, shorter agenda tonight, which is fine because sometimes we go on and on. So enjoy the quiet. And thank you all for being here. 8:25, meeting's adjourned.